Yeah. If there's some shops you want to
Yes, please.
Okay.
Just for record purposes. And a hello, my name is. That'd be lovely. I feel like I should be outside.
It's giving you some real troubles there.
Yeah.
I had popped the whole thing out. That was mine. The one that's
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
because I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
Complicated tech.
Yeah.
This is the real house.
That's it, yeah. It's really, it's nothing to fix it.
Thank you.
No.
What do you get the hands on?
Yeah, that's right, that's right.
I already failed the first time.
Do you typically have people trickle in?
Yeah, typically, yeah.
Familiar face, hello. How are you?
Good.
A minute or so.
Yeah, whenever.
No,
Yeah, whenever.
I'm Jolly, do you know?
It looks like they're coming. Yeah, they're walking.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good,
Nice to
see you.
see you. Welcome.
Thank
Welcome
you.
to your first day at this space.
Yeah,
I'm so
never been in the
excited to
building.
have you.
Oh my god.
Never been.
Okay, well, lovely. Thank you. I'm happy that you came. Welcome. And I'm ready to it.
Cool.
Thank you, Camilla. All right, so my name is Nani Dubé, and welcome to the Innovation Cluster. For those of you that aren't familiar with the Innovation Cluster, so we are a not-for-profit organization that supports startups working in innovation and technology. We do so by offering advisory services, access to partners, and workshops such as this one. We encourage you to apply if you have an innovative idea or startup working in technology. You can apply on our website, so www.innovationcluster.ca. Again, welcome to Hands-On, Business Beyond Profit, Social Entrepreneurship with Dean Howley. In this session, we delve into the world of social innovation and entrepreneurship. The aim is to equip aspiring social entrepreneurs like you guys with essential knowledge and tools to create successful and impactful social initiatives. So this workshop has a couple learning objectives. Understanding the basics of social innovation and the importance of it, getting introduced to examples of successful social initiatives, and engaging in a practical activity if time permits, of course. And facilitating today, we do have Dean Howley. Dean is a faculty member at Trent University and Durham College, teaching entrepreneurship and communication, as some of you may know. And besides academia, he successfully runs King and Tupper, a business that crafts Montessori-inspired wooden toys and furniture for children. And he is multifaceted in his career, which includes in real estate valuation, financial services, education, and tourism. So welcome, Dean Howley.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Good job. That was well done.
Oh, stop.
Yeah. How do you feel? Do you feel good now? Like, just take a breath.
I need water.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Camera there. I'm on camera and now I'm not. Okay. I'm just checking for everybody on YouTube live. Yeah, okay. There. Okay. Now I know. How many of you don't have a name tag? You three gentlemen and the lovely lady there. So I like to call people by name. I am a professor, so this is going to feel very much like a class. Some of you have been in my classes, which is nice. How are you guys doing today? How you feeling? Pretty good? You're like, why am I in here when it's so nice outside? Let's make it work then, shall we? Let's make it good. So business beyond profit. Today and it's called hands-on. So we're gonna get to the hands-on piece. It's not a time permitting thing. It's gonna happen. Oh no. Hello. Sign it there or something. Aaron, I love your hair. I think we should, yeah. Okay. See lots of familiar faces today, which is really, really nice. I actually have to put a shout out to. I actually have 2 family members in the room who are from Ireland. Anybody come further than that? I don't think so. So anyway. Just for this, yeah. They flew all the way here. They're leaving tomorrow morning. Yeah.
It's a long bus.
So it's all about difference making, right? And I will say we have 2 social entrepreneurs in the room now, which I'm going to leverage today. So this is good. I have pre-made examples already in the room. So what I really want to give you guys today is an idea of why it's important, how we kind of do it, some examples of that, and then some tools that'll get us started in that process. I start every class I ever teach with a meme or a cartoon or something meaningful. This is today's. Would you just take a peek at that? Powerful. Why? Why is it relevant today? To us in the room.
I mean, I feel like that's why we're here, right? So we're here to see, to learn how we can build a business that makes this type of difference and change.
And is it super easy? No, it's not, right? Which is why we're trying to learn about how to do it better. So I like to start with this just to preface that. So here's an agenda for you. We'll start out with what I want you guys to take away. I'm going to introduce myself a bit. That was already done, really, so I don't have to do a lot, but I want you guys to introduce yourselves to each other also. We'll start with a starting point of kind of your understanding of what social entrepreneurship is, what it means to you, right? Go over some key terms, which is really going to ground our whole discussion, and then differentiate between social enterprise and CSR. You guys know what CSR is? Corporate social responsibility. And often those 2 things are confused, and it's a really important differentiation to make. Then we'll talk about social entrepreneurship. We'll do a DIY, hands-on activity is the name of the thing to suggest. And then we'll have time for some Q&A at the end. Sound good? Cool. Okay, here are the official learning outcomes, what I want you guys to take away. We only have about 45 minutes, so these are what I'm going to try and focus on. I want you guys to be able to define and discuss what social entrepreneurship is, social enterprise, and social innovation. Those are often thought of as the same things. They're not. They're different, and we want to really understand that. Differentiate between social entrepreneurship and CSR, and why they're different and who uses what. And then understand how to use some tools to actually plan a social enterprise. Because for most of you in the room, that's what you actually want to do. You want to do this, which is why we're here. So we'll talk about some tools that are going to help you do that. And then anything else that I can share, impart knowledge on you, let me know, and we'll do that too. So me, you guys got the basics. I love social enterprise. I love social innovation. My background is in business and in strategy. I run my own business. I teach entrepreneurship, so that's why I'm in the room. If you have questions, ask me as we go along. That's how I'm going to be able to give you as much as I can today. That's the official mug shot. I'm wearing a tie there. I almost never wear a tie, but I do there. And in case you're wondering, yes, natural hair color. I don't dye it. Okay, now you guys, here's what I want you to do. You're a black box to me, at least some of you are right now, and you're a black box to each other, which makes it kind of tense sometimes if I say, hey, talk to this person beside you. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I want you to talk to somebody near you that you don't know. So some of you came in as groups, don't talk to each other. These are husband and wife, don't talk to each other. Okay? Tell the person beside you your name and what you do for a living or what you want to do for a living if you're not there yet, why you're here today, what interests you about social entrepreneurship, and if there's one difference that you can make through a social innovation or a social enterprise, what is that thing? What's driving you to be here today? Okay, so turn to somebody around you, talk about those things for a couple minutes. Hi, I'm Aaron.
Oh, she goes in.
Sorry?
She goes in.
Nice to meet you.
That's me.
Find somebody you don't know. Well, do it in a group of three, it's okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'm Toby. Toby? This is me, Toby. This is Sorry, I'm kind of hard of hearing.
Letting people know that there's so many ways.
You're so like younger.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, so just more like, you know,
How like often like how much are you doing like classes?
So my wife Leah and I, we run a business here in
So she like students kind of you're in your area. I go I'm going to do it tonight. My sister is a teacher. Well, my sister, she's a teacher. So she's like, I think this is my last week. I'm like, yeah, you're doing like 3 weeks, so you're done, okay? It's really awesome. Okay. We currently have our own business, but I did not get hired. So anyways, here I am. It started when I was having my first baby. I made lost weights because I was using lost diapers. I didn't want to use disposable wipes, so I made lost weights. And then literally, it's just from there. That was 10 years ago. So it was like a really like hobby for a long time. Just making little hats, lost weights. I was selling strong place, a few other like retailers, and then I opened up a shop. So basically, what we do is handmade and these.
Yeah, so we want to basically make people feel
So is it just the general gist of the company? Not a lot of ways for production, and also like people can use this product.
Okay, let's wrap up that chat. Okay. Honestly, this is the first innovation cluster. That is a very bright light.
It is.
Yeah. Okay. Do we feel more connected now? Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? So, because this is a workshop and it's hands-on, I like to do that so that you know the people in the room, why they're here, who they are, and it makes it just kind of more interesting, more fun verbally. Did you learn anything interesting about people's aspirations and what they do and all that kind of stuff? Cool, right? Everybody has a different reason for being here, although they're all connected, which is cool. Okay. So let's do this. Let's have a starting point. I'm going to ask you a question to give us some foundation for the rest of today, which is, how would you personally describe social entrepreneurship? So think about it for a second. When you hear that term, what does it mean to you? What is it that you think of when you hear social entrepreneurship? And I'm going to ask you to share. So think about it for a second.
I believe there are 16 SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, implemented by government, business which supports, it solve the problem of those goals. They will be part of, and they will be the part of social development.
Okay, so when you think of social entrepreneurship, you think of those sustainable development goals and say, whatever my business tackles, it should address one of those challenges, one of those issues. Okay, that's a great starting point. What else? Please, not everybody all at once. Yeah.
Like a business that's for the good of society sometimes.
Yeah, right? So it can be more complicated or it can be that simple, right? And that's perfectly okay. That's great. Anybody else?
Like you pick up any social problem and try to solve it.
Okay.
Just try to make now change or solve the problem.
Yeah, and when you say social, what do you mean?
It's like for the community, for all the people, not for the community.
That's right, the well-being of kind of everybody, right? So
Because I'm facing everyone, each one person should also have the same problem. So if I'm solving the problem for my own, it could be possible that that solution might work for everyone as well.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, challenges, issues, problems are typically not isolated to individuals, right? It's typically more widespread. So when we say society, when we say social entrepreneurship, we're talking about everybody's well-being, right? And anybody else, social entrepreneurship, what it means to you? That's okay. We'll talk more. Okay. So let's talk about some key terms. You guys ever Google definitions? You guys done that?
Not at all.
Not in a long time. You haven't had to write a paper lately, right? Yeah. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So I want you guys to break out your device. You all have a phone, right? So get it out. Normally I hate this, but I want you to get it out. Okay. I want you to go to Google or whatever you search. Okay. And I want you to put in that search term: define social entrepreneurship. Hi, Sophia. How are you? Good, thanks. And I'm getting you to do this because let me give you a secret about definitions. There is never one definition, right? So I asked all of you to think about it because it means something different to everybody. And if you were to look for an academic definition of social entrepreneurship, there isn't one. So I'm going to get you to Google it so that we can share a few of what. So once you've got one, let me know. And then I'll ask you to read it out for us. Who's got one? Go ahead, read it out for us.
Social entrepreneurship refers to the use of innovative business practices to address social issues.
Okay, so innovative business practices and then the social issue bit. Good. Where's that from?
AI.
AI. Did you use ChatGPT? All right. Welcome to 2023.
I never even thought.
Yeah. AI does everything for us now. Okay, good. That's a good start. Another one. Yeah.
Social entrepreneurship is a business model used by companies to help solve some of the world's greatest problems.
Okay, so in this case, business model was the key, right? And then again, greatest problems. What else did you get? Yeah.
It says, interested in starting a business for the greater social good and not just personal profits.
Okay, so social, not just making money, right? Now, business typically has to make money. That's just the way they work, right? But the other primary goal is making that social impact. Okay, what else? Another one? Let's get one more.
I got one for you, Dean.
Sure.
Social entrepreneurship applies the principles and guidance used by startup founders and entrepreneurs to a business that directly generates social change or impacts a social cause. A social entrepreneur is primarily motivated by a desire to alleviate some kind of systemic, social, or cultural problem.
Okay, and where's that one from, Aaron?
Coursera.
Coursera, all right. Okay, so an educational course tool. The point I'm making is that there's no one definition, right? But there are some commonalities of what social entrepreneurship really is, and all of those were kind of captured there in different words, right? So I don't give you a definition. I give you some pieces of what social entrepreneurship really encapsulates as an initiative, if you're actually going to do it. First and foremost, and all of those definitions had it, you're trying to make some sort of impact on society, right? Positive change. And typically, because we see social, that's all we think of, but we're typically thinking about social impact, environmental impact, sometimes cultural, sometimes economic, right? Any issues that fall under there, okay? Every entrepreneur, though, has to recognize an opportunity to somehow make that impact, right? It's not just about, I want to solve this problem. It's about, okay, how do I translate that into a business idea that's actually going to do it? Because those are two very different things, right? Once you recognize that opportunity, you got to develop a business model. And the hands-on piece later is going to be me telling you how to develop that. I'm going to give you a tool that's going to help you put all those pieces in place, okay? You're then going to collect and mobilize resources. Those are the entrepreneurs that do it best, the ones who can figure out what resources they have, which ones they need, how to mobilize those so that they can, in the end, implement and operate the business that's going to make that positive impact on society. Without all those different components, you don't have social entrepreneurship, right? And by the way, if you ignore this first one, that's just entrepreneurship, right? So the key really is having that desire to make a change. And that was something that came in Aaron's definition at the end there, that social entrepreneur, what you really are, right? So this is kind of the umbrella term, right, of what social entrepreneurship really is. Then you have social enterprise. Has anybody ever kind of thought of them as the same thing? Yeah, right, we often do. They're often thought of as synonymous. But this is really the thing that you create as a social entrepreneur, right? This is the actual business, right? So there's the main difference. It's got to have a social impact as a primary goal, right? So being a business for profit is one thing. Being a business entirely for social good is another thing. We often think of that as a charity, right? Or not for profits, kind of a bit of both, right? So you got to have that social impact as your primary goal, right? But you have to generate revenue through your operations, right? You have to be able to make some money. That's the enterprise part in order to make that social impact. Without that piece, you don't have it, right? It can be, and this comes directly from the Canada website on social enterprise, a not-for-profit, for-profit, or a charity. And I put a little asterisk there for a reason. My personal view, a charity is not a social enterprise. Sometimes, some definitions will include it, some won't. But often, where do charities get their money? Donations, right? Sometimes charities will have social enterprises that connect with them that will generate revenue, but it's not the main charity itself. So that's the differentiation that I like to make, is that a for-profit business, you're just generating revenue. Not for profit, there's got to be some way that you generate revenue, but you don't want to make money for your own personal gain. But a charity, it's just coming from donations, right? So when I think of a social enterprise, I don't think of a charity. So I just want to put that out there as I'm talking about it. And then whatever profits you do make, they've got to be directed substantially or entirely, if you're not for profit, toward that social goal, right? And again, they're making revenue, and then that profit is being funneled into whatever that problem is, trying to solve it, right? And that's the key here. So that's a social enterprise. Social innovation. Is it the same thing as social entrepreneurship or social enterprise? Right? Related, right? So social entrepreneurship, the umbrella term. Social enterprise, the business that you're creating. Social innovation is what you're doing within that business to make a social impact, to make a change in the world, right? So you've got to have, this is the innovation part, a new and novel approach to problem solving, right? When you think of innovation, what's it mean to you? Sophia, you're smiling. What's innovation?
It's a new way to do things.
Yeah, right?
Outside the box.
Outside the box, thinking outside the box, a new way to do things. You see a problem that hasn't been solved or has been solved in a way that you don't think is adequate, and you go, I'm going to change that. There's a better way to do that. That's innovation, right? So the social bit has to start with that new and novel approach, that innovative approach to changing things, right? To doing things differently. The problems are social in nature, and again, social, right? Society, environment, culture, economic issues even, okay? And then solutions are typically going to improve the well-being of society, right? So if you think of a social enterprise that is addressing hunger, right? The well-being of society is making sure people aren't hungry, right? There's got to be some sort of direction of that solution towards the well-being and towards that solution of the overall problem. Now, here's where I want to start to differentiate. Have you guys heard, again, this term CSR? How many of you have heard it before? Okay. So corporate social responsibility is different than social entrepreneurship. And here's the main difference. These are initiatives by for-profit businesses, right? And I'm going to give you some examples in a bit. It doesn't mean that CSR isn't something that a not-for-profit could do or a charity could do. That's what the asterisk is for. But typically, CSR is something that a for-profit business that wants to make a lot of money does for two reasons. One, society has told them they have to do this, right? If you don't have CSR initiatives, the world looks at you and goes, you're a bad business, right? So that's one reason. But also, It is a great branding technique, and some businesses legitimately want to make a difference in society, right? They want to impact the communities that they live in, that their people work in, those types of things, right? It's all about accountability of those businesses towards the well-being of society, right? Intended to benefit multiple stakeholders, so the community, the people that they employ, the shareholders of the business, right? Because if you do CSR well, it can make you more money, and therefore the shareholders are going to benefit from that. But unlike a social enterprise, the things that they're doing for society are not necessarily a primary objective. They're more of a sidebar, right? We have to do this. Maybe we want to do it, but really what we're here for is to sell as many things as we can to make as much money as we can. That's the difference between social enterprise and CSR. So try not to confuse them. That's the key here. Okay, so this is a spectrum, if you will. And again, this is directly from the Canada website on social enterprise. I can send this slideshow to everybody afterwards, right? Can we do that?
Absolutely.
Okay, so all of these will be hyperlinked for you. You can find the resources. What this tells you is that there's a spectrum of what they call social enterprises. I'm going to argue not all of these are social enterprises, but some are, right? So again, I argue that a charity is not, so these are kind of not social enterprises. Commercial corporation, right? Business corporation, socially responsible business, not social enterprises. It's kind of the sweet spot in between that is a social enterprise. Okay, so if you look at it like this, can we just slightly, There we go. Okay.
Perfect.
So this side of the line, these are the people doing CSR. Primary objective, making money, also want to have some sort of positive impact on society. Everything this way, other than maybe charities, social enterprise. Okay. And the reason that it's important to differentiate this is that when you are creating the business, you want to know whether you are a business that's really oriented towards making money, but you do want to make a little good on the side towards society, or you're really a social enterprise that you're really driven by making that social impact, right? And there's a big difference. You want to really think about what your goals are and what your intentions are, okay? Here are some examples of businesses that you are probably familiar with, right? You guys know all of these businesses, I imagine, okay? Are they social enterprises? No. That was a hard no from everybody.
Patagonia, is it though? I feel like
So,
it is now.
so Leah, Patagonia there should be an asterisk there. We'll talk about that. Okay. So these are not social enterprises, but do they do great CSR? Absolutely they do. Right. So Apple, all of its packaging is now recyclable. It's renewable. They bought a forest so that they can sustainably harvest the wood that goes into the paper for the packaging. That's great CSR, but they're not a social enterprise. They still want to make a lot of money, and they do it very well, right? Ben & Jerry's, 5 cents from every sale of their 1 liter container goes towards charitable causes. Social enterprise? No, they still want to make a lot of money, right? They're close. They're getting close, but not all. They also donate some of their profit to charitable causes, so they're a great one. The Body Shop, you guys familiar with them? So they actually have their own activist group within the company that looks at social causes and go, we want to fight you on this. We're going to put our team towards it. That's one of the things that they do. They're all about, no harm to animals and the testing of their products, all that kind of stuff, right? Are they social enterprise?
No.
Why?
Because their main goal isn't to build social value, it's to sell products.
Just making a lot of money,
Yeah.
right? But they can still do some social good, okay? Now, Patagonia, as Leah said, you might be able to argue. Why can you argue that it might be a social
Well, I
enterprise?
don't know the full story, but he gave his company away to the earth, I
Yeah,
guess.
to the earth, yeah, basically. So Patagonia is a poster child for great CSR. Their supply chain is one of the best in the world. All of what they do is really trying to minimize environmental impact, to improve the well-being of the people that they employ, the communities that they're in. You pay for that. Anybody bought a Patagonia product lately, right? I mean, save your pennies. They're very expensive. But people will pay that because they know that the business is doing good things. So up until very recently, within the last couple of years, Patagonia was just a great company for profit that does good CSR. The founder just donated almost all of the voting shares to a social enterprise, to a charitable organization that now runs the company. So it could now be argued to be a social enterprise, but it wasn't always. So that's the key there. Yeah. Google it if you want to know the story. It's the only example of a business that has done this to this point. Yeah. When it happened, the business world went, what? Yeah, you did what? Right?
It was valued at 300 million at the time.
Yeah. And this guy's like, here, take it.
Wow.
Right? Yeah.
It's also really old, like it's like 40 years, like it's like,
Yeah.
and now it's cool.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Right? I'm getting chills thinking
I
about the
know.
story, right? So all of this is to say
Yeah.
that there is a difference between a social enterprise and a corporation that does good stuff for the well-being of society, right? Both are great, right? But you need to really know the difference so that when you're developing your business, you know which one you are. And that's why I start with this difference, right? Some companies like these three are called B Corps. Anybody heard of a B Corp?
Yeah.
So benefit corporations, there's a group of like 6,000 businesses in the world that are certified to be good for the well-being of society. You can find a list. So if you're interested in supporting businesses that do this, you can check them out. This is a video, I'm not gonna play it, but when you get the slides, you'll be able to hyperlink to it and you can watch about what B Corps are. There's also, if you start a business, run a business, wanna test a business idea, BDC has this really great tool that will allow you to look at what your business does and kind of measure the social impact that you might make relevant to the same things that are considered when businesses are certified as B Corps. So you can check that out. It's a good tool. Okay, so social entrepreneurship, the real reason we're here. Okay, I'm gonna play this video for you. It's gonna give a couple examples of what social entrepreneurship is and some businesses that would be considered social enterprises. And then from there, we'll talk about some examples before we dive into some tools to actually do it. Is there sound through this or should I?
You might have to
Yeah,
turn up
that's
the
okay.
volume. Yeah.
Increases environmental and financial sustainability. Social entrepreneurship strengthens communities, creates jobs, and increases environmental and financial sustainability. Social entrepreneurs use a specific business model called social enterprise to directly address a social, cultural, or environmental issue. Let's show you a few examples. A bakery social enterprise might provide training and jobs to people who face persistent barriers to employment. They help them build skills they can use to find full-time work. A community orchestra could help amateur musicians connect with each other and perform for local paying audiences. Tickets are so affordable that anyone can watch their concerts. The groups get to learn about and share the music of different cultures within the community. An environmental enterprise might provide subsidies for energy retrofits to homeowners to make their homes more efficient and to help the environment. In each example, the social enterprise is directly addressing one or more important community issues by making and selling a product or service to paying customers. All social entrepreneurs and social enterprises seek to achieve more than a bottom line financial result. They exist primarily to meet their mission. It is not uncommon for these types of businesses to strive for value on double or even a triple bottom line approach, which takes into consideration both people and the planet. So who are these social entrepreneurs? Well, they can be anyone. Social entrepreneurs are started by people who care enough about something to take the necessary action to make an impact. Even you can be the next social entrepreneur. Acro started a local urban garden. The garden exists to provide healthy food to people in urban areas that may not have access to these items otherwise. They also teach skills around urban farming and healthy eating. Their participants sell what they have grown at their weekly market stand, and this helps to pay for the garden. June worked in a nonprofit providing help for persons with disabilities to find jobs. However, there weren't many jobs available for these people, even with the provided coaching and training. So June decided to start a cafe supported by her organization to employ the clients. They get supportive and understanding employment, and the organization can eventually make money to provide more social programming. John noticed youth in his area were underemployed. He also noticed the elderly were moving out because they could not maintain simple household chores like vacuuming, lawn mowing, and shoveling. Additionally, the two groups were not interacting with one another. He decided to start a social enterprise employing youth where they could rake leaves, mow lawns, and shovel snow for the elderly, who would pay them for their services. The youth get valuable hands-on experiences, and the elderly can live in their homes longer because these services are being offered. And both get to learn about each other and break down barriers that help create a generational gap. So you can see all types of people do it. People on their own and working in organizations too. If the primary purpose is to create social, cultural, and/or environmental value, then it is a social enterprise. When more people engage in this work, we can strengthen our communities and change the world for the better, one caring social entrepreneur at a time.
Make sense? I think that's a really great video for just clarifying what it is, who social entrepreneurs are. What was a common thing among all of those different initiatives? What's the one thing that they all did? There's actually two things that they all did.
Fix the social problem.
So they all addressed a social problem, which we talked about, key to being a social enterprise, right? Those are not CSR initiatives. Those are social enterprises. What's the other thing?
They found a way to monetize their social enterprise.
They all made money, right? All of those businesses were oriented towards making a change, but they made money in the process to fix that problem. So that's the key. Here are some great examples of social enterprises you're probably familiar with. Tentree, what do they do? What makes it a social enterprise?
Plant trees.
Yeah, how many?
10,000 each year.
Or
10 trees per thing?
yeah. So maybe it's 10,000, maybe it's 100,000. It really depends on how much they sell. Every single product that they sell, they plant 10 trees. The guy who started Tentree, it was actually a group of 3 people, was a tree planter. Right? So he was in this world and he said to himself, okay, I want to do more of this. How do I do it other than just physically planting the trees? And he said, let's start a clothing business where we sell things. Some of that money is going to go towards planting trees. Social enterprise, right? Now, they are oriented towards making money, right? But the Tentree, it's right in their name, right? Making that social impact is built into what they do. It's a primary objective, right? Tom's, you guys know Tom's? What do they do?
For every pay you buy, you give like another pay more.
Yeah.
Something to
Yeah, they call it the 1-for-1 model, right? So every pair of shoes that you buy as a consumer, they will donate a pair of shoes to typically communities in need, people that don't have the money or don't have the resources to get those shoes, right? They also donate 1/3 of their profit to charitable causes, right? So again, in this case, business that is designed to make money, right? But what they do is primarily based on making that social impact. That 1-for-1 is built into their kind of secret sauce, right? And these are similar examples to kind of make money and donate some of it. Not all are like this. Here are some other ones that are a little bit different, okay? You guys ever heard of the Grameen Bank? Okay, so the Grameen Bank is from Bangladesh. It was started in the 70s. By a guy named Muhammad Yunus. And what they do is called microfinancing. So if you don't know what microfinancing is, it's really small loans to entrepreneurs in typically underdeveloped countries. Think of African countries, for example, or West Indian countries, that kind of thing. And they say, okay, you need $200 to start your business to make this thing. We'll give you that $200, right? And they have, I forget what the number it is, but it's like hundreds of millions of dollars in these microfinance loans. What makes it a exceptional social enterprise is that they're making money by charging minimal interest on the loans that they give to these people, but those loans are making impacts in the communities that they're going into because those people become entrepreneurs. They're able to pay back those modest loans. And then that's developing the local community, the local economy, right? It's huge. You guys know Restore? There's one here. Actually, there's 2 here in Peterborough. Okay. Habitat for Humanity. Is it a charity?
Probably.
It is.
Yeah.
Is Restore?
I guess
It's not.
they're money making.
It's their money making. So some charities, as I mentioned earlier, will have a social enterprise that help them to make that charity work. In this case, Habitat for Humanity uses Restore. So Restore, homeowners that don't need whatever, right? flooring, doors that they've taken out during renovation, old tools. They can donate all that kind of stuff to Restore that then sells it. That money that they make goes to the charity, right? So they're generating revenue that's going toward the charitable cause. Me to We. Do you guys know Me to We? Yeah. So what is it, Angel?
It is because it started off as a charity, but now Me to We, isn't it like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like they do, like, don't they connect youth to like doing like missions and stuff like that?
Yeah.
I know that's part of it.
Yeah. So We Charity is the charity in this case. Me to We is the social enterprise that helps that charity operate. So they sell products, they create experiences, they do mission trips, all of that stuff youth pay for to get all those experiences. But then the money that's made goes to the We Charity, right? It's probably one of the poster child examples of social enterprise, right? So these ones are a little bit different than just kind of the make some money and donate it, right? So it doesn't always have to be exactly the same model. And these are great examples as well. Anybody recognize this place?
Dreams.
Yeah, so this is Dreams of Beans, right? Which is being resurrected, so which is really good.
It doesn't look like that right now, does it?
I don't know,
Still
actually.
have those
Or
porn
they took
videos?
out the.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, yeah.
There you go. Okay, well, it looks different, all right?
Uh,
I mean, there were limited photos of this, so I had to use what I did. I'm sorry, I should have gone this way. So they were not always necessarily considered a social enterprise. I would say they were a corporation with good CSR. They use fair trade and organic means, right? But they were still a business oriented towards making money. The new owners, though, it transferred ownership within the last year or so. Does anybody know what the new owners are doing?
Yeah.
What?
So they are paying a livable wage, they've canceled tipping. And then they're also hiring individuals who face too many barriers to traditional employment. So much like the One City program that we have that cleans downtown.
Yeah.
I know Andrew quite well.
Perfect. Good. We have an expert in the room, right? So this has become a social enterprise because the owners think that a business that supports the community is important. And one of the ways they do that is by paying a living wage. There's a great article on this in either the Peterborough Examiner or Kawartha Now, and it talks about their motivations for that, right? And they basically say people can't live on minimum wage, right? We all know. Sorry. Peterborough Currents. There you go. Okay. They can't do that, right? And so they said they kind of did some calculations and they came up with $25 an hour, which after deductions means people can actually live in the city of Peterborough, right? And because that's built into the way they do, and they say, you come to us, don't give us tips. We're just going to pay our people what we think they deserve.
Oh, come on. It's amazing.
It's
I love that.
amazing.
And they also provide coffee to individuals who drinks who may not always be able to afford it. So it's that additional.
Lots of great stuff, right?
Wow.
But it's built into the way that they operate the business. It's not just on the side, right? Now it also sustains those people that work there. It sustains the owners, right? So that's a great example of a local social enterprise. One more for you. Anybody heard of Fill It Forward?
Ooh, this looks good.
Yeah,
No.
this is right up your alley.
Yeah.
So this is from, I forget his name, but he is a Peterborough local. His parents actually used to own the No Frills in town, or one of them. He went to the University of Guelph as part of their startup incubator there. He created Fill It Forward, which is, it started off as these stickers that you could attach to reusable containers. And there was an app that was associated with it. And when people used these stickers, they scanned the QR code. And every time a user did that, the company would donate toward whatever charitable causes. They have a group of charitable causes that they donate to. So you pay for the stickers, you use them, and then some of that goes back into the community, right? They now actually sell these products themselves. So this is their bag, this is their cup, this is their bottle, right? And that's still how the business operates. So users scan that, again, make a charitable donation based on that, right? So a pretty cool example of another social enterprise. Lee and Aaron, I'm gonna, because I have you in the room, would you guys consider your business a social enterprise?
After your presentation, I would say yes.
I would argue it is. So these two own Cheeks Ahoy, which is a really cool company in Peterborough. Check it out. Yeah. Cheeks Ahoy. And you guys make, what do you make?
We
Explain
make
it.
reusable household items. So we want people to replace paper towel with our unpaper towels or a rag or whatever. Like people buy lots of disposable things that they just throw away at home. So we have baby wipes, we have like for hankies, we have unpaper towels, we have makeup remover rounds, lots of papery type things that you can, use our products to replace, and they'll last for many years, and they wash with your regular laundry, and they're cotton and everything. So
Yeah.
to get people to stop having to buy plastic wrapped things that you throw away. Yeah.
Right? So this started because you had children and you
Yeah.
didn't want to use the wipes that
Yeah.
well, a lot of you are young, but when you have children, they poop a lot and you have to wipe their bum, right? And that all goes into the garbage. So Leah and Aaron
Yes.
said, we don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Let's create a product that's going to eliminate that waste, right? That's the social issue that they addressed. The other cool thing you do is you employ, is it New Canadians?
Yeah, like not as a rule, but it just has been amazing.
Yeah.
Like there's so many people that we've met through the New Canadian Center that maybe have skills with sewing or not even like skills with their hands. English is, they're learning it still. Well, they can come and sew and they don't have to, they learn, they're still learning English. But yeah, it's just been amazing because people are
The
so.
potlucks are great.
Yeah.
How do I get an invitation?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we have a social enterprise right in the room and they didn't even necessarily know it when they walked in, right? But the key is you're making money. It supports your family. Both of you work for the business, right? So it's okay to make money. It's often thought of as like, oh, we're doing that. But if you're still doing social good as a social enterprise, that's great, right? So when you're thinking of your ideas, think about these, right? Think about what's that social change that I want to make? What's the difference I want to make? How do I monetize a way to do that, right? And then once you've done that, to make social, environmental, or economic change in some form, right? I'm going to skip this just based on time. Here are some tools that can help you do it, right? To help you think about actually putting those ideas into practice. How many of you have heard of the business model canvas? I know you have.
Oh,
I know
yes.
you have. I know you have. I have students in the room, right? So this is my go-to tool when somebody says, I want to create a business. How do I do that? This is all of the moving pieces of a business wrapped up nice and tight in one page, right? You could put any business in the world that you can think of in here, right? It really kind of gives you an idea of all the different parts that you need to think about. What it doesn't do is address a social enterprise though, because there's no social part here. There's no difference part here, right? So there's a Social Enterprise Institute, which is an online company that it's designed to make money, but it did a really good job at taking the business model canvas and making it into a social enterprise idea, right? So all of the pieces are the same, except for these three, right? So the value proposition is now separated into what the social innovation is, right? Instead of talking about just the customer, it's talking about how you can benefit the people who are buying your product or benefit other stakeholders, and then how you make money, what it costs you to make money, but then how you're putting that back into the community, right? By adding those additional pieces to this classic business model canvas, it gives you an opportunity to make it into a social enterprise. It gets you thinking about how your social innovation is going to work while still addressing all of those moving pieces that a business has to have, right? Without all of them, you don't have a business, right? A business has to work, business has to make money, right? All of those pieces are key, regardless of whether you are all for the money or all for that social innovation, okay? Here's an example with Tom's, and I gave you, so this link will take you to a PDF that includes this group of ideas here. So you can see with Tom's, which is a giant organization, how they have fit all of these different things into the canvas, right? And you'll notice those three pieces there, right? So social innovation, the one-for-one concept, right? When Tom's came out, that was novel, right? That was a very different idea. They're like, you're gonna do what? You're gonna donate one for, how do you make any money? Well, they've clearly done it very well. It's been around for years and years. Consumer benefits, right? So they're educating children, they're improving the health of families, right? They're also creating economic opportunity in the way that they use their supply chain, right? And then community reinvestment. So again, that donation going right in there, and then their giving program. So again, a third of their profits are actually going back into communities, right? So this is a tool that you can use when you say, okay, here's the idea that I have. I want to make a change in X, whatever that happens to be, right? I want to think of a business that's going to help me do that. I have no idea where to start. This is where you start, right? You can start to piece together all of the different things that'll allow a business to actually work. And once you've filled this out, you can go out and test it, right? Can I actually make money with this idea? And then you can tweak this. This is a living document. It'll change over time as you kind of learn and grow as a business, right? Cool? Yeah, good idea. We have 10 minutes. Can we do 5 minutes of Q&A and 5 minutes of this?
I think we're good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna get in trouble?
No.
Okay, good. So what I want you to do you all have an idea in your head of a problem that you want to solve? An issue in the world that you go, this sucks, I want to fix it. You guys all think of that one thing? Yeah? Cool. I want you, based on this, to figure out how you could create a business that would actually do that. Then, and it's not CSR, so it's not a business oriented towards making money, but then we're going to do this nice thing on the side. It's social enterprise. It's built into the way that you create your business. Some of you already have that, right? Sophia, I'm thinking of you, right? You guys already have that, so maybe think of something new or think of something different, right? But I'm going to give you 5 minutes to chat with each other, with yourself, whatever, to come up with a concept, and then I'm going to ask you how it went. Cool? Okay, if you have questions within that 5 minutes, just put your hand up and ask me. Otherwise, get to work. Get to work. Come up with a business.
Yeah, exactly. Did you use your current idea or?
I have
You must have something in mind.
another idea.
Okay.
So not health and wellness related. But it was like
Sorry?
this idea of like you say, so it's a new Canadian center, so I'm sure you know, like for them it's probably hard for them to kind of connect with people from back home. But mine would be more student related.
Yeah.
So maybe having like a platform that universities can have as a resource for other international students, and kind of like online dating apps, but moving away from that. So having that like aspect of, okay, I want to meet South Africans, or I want to meet people from like Italy, and they can search Italy, and then it's like registered.
So you would want to have like a
show
way
like
to
a list of
kind of-
people you could potentially connect with, because it's so hard these days to like meet people,
Right.
especially like in Peterborough, like it's smaller, so you want to meet somebody maybe from like Toronto or like
Right.
Kingston, like doable distances.
Right.
If the universities are registered in the app, because that would allow for the safety aspect of
Right.
it.
Yeah.
So that was an idea.
Are you just thinking about that right now?
No,
Oh,
I've been thinking
okay. I'm
about
like,
it for like 2 weeks.
Such a great wow.
So how would like
I've been
the
thinking about it for like 2
consumer,
weeks.
I guess you would want the
Because
consumer
like for
to
graduation, I've been
kind of
reflecting about, like, okay, yeah,
look
this is
for that
happening in my life, but
specifically,
like,
or just
still
have
haven't
like
really
a
met
a
anybody
way
from
of
South Africa,
recognizing
and it actually hit, like, it
this,
rubbed me the wrong way.
almost, it sounds
So
like a
I was like, it would have
verification
been nice
sort of.
if I got like something and it's like, here's the resource, and then
Right.
there are a bunch of students, just like an
Yeah.
online dating app, but obviously with the better narrative with it. that-
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm sure there's like events that I don't know about, but because I don't know people, I wouldn't know about these kinds of events, or like people that are from my backyard, like you never know.
Yeah.
And it would be such a great thing for like so like not even just international students, but I think for me, for example, I was born here, but I'm Scottish, and I've never met like others. Like so if you can connect on that aspect, like learn more about like my culture and connecting with people, you know,
Yeah, and it can go bigger, like which would be the goal. that
Right.
for it. but I found like okay, so we started schools and then even in schools, and then you could go as little as like you're from Hamilton, right?
Yeah.
So Hamilton, and then you
Okay,
just
so
like
how
search
would, yeah,
Hamilton
like what would that
students,
look like
and
as a
then
business
you
then?
like the same thing with like movies, whatever. We can connect. Hi, how you doing?
But the primary connection
Yeah.
point is like the kind of origin.
Origins, yes.
Okay, one more minute to wrap up your chat.
I don't know.
Is there anything like that that exists? No.
No,
But nothing you know of.
like they sound.
But you mean, so then Trent, like you came to Trent, and then it would be like, Trent would let you know about this. So you don't have to like go out and find this kind of thing yourself necessarily, like
No.
something that the school would be like, hey, this exists, this is a resource.
Yeah, this is a resource, just like anything they give, like there's TCSA or student
Yeah.
support.
Yeah,
And
that's,
then
that's
they,
a tricky one, like
it's
I'm not
these
very.
apps you can download, like
Yeah.
the bus app.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So that was
I
like
can
a
think of
thought.
anything myself other than what I'm like, ooh, okay, reducing
Yeah,
plastic,
honestly,
no,
like,
yeah.
the
but-
big thing is environment.
I thought that would be cool. I am gonna start using Camilla.
Really what it comes down
Just
to
like,
is
yeah.
people.
Like I told her briefly,
People
like
need
I was
to
just like a
Okay, that's your 5 minutes.
Yeah.
How do you get the people to do that, right?
I
So,
am not.
Hi, come on back. Come on back. Okay. I really hate to interrupt what I heard were great conversations, but we're on a time limit, so here we are. Did anybody come up with pure gold? Something that you want to share or think others would be inspired to hear? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so what we came up with was offering network services to hard to reach places while also making it free. So getting Wi-Fi and going hard to reach places and also, like I said, making it free.
A good example is the highway in Peterborough.
Yes.
Okay.
It's literally there, so
Yeah, there's no network services in that area. So that's what we came up with. Well, how to pay for it, also how it became a social enterprise was that if you wanted to benefit from the system, you have to pay for the setting up infrastructure.
Okay.
And once you do that, you also become a part of the system. So you contribute to it's also the spread out of it and administering it to other people in the area.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, so your social challenge is access to technology and connectivity is your main, so that's a legitimate one. Great. Another? Anybody else?
There you go.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is not entirely new. It's a work in progress, but I was thinking a platform to start international students or immigrants to kind of have just like the whole dating, like online dating culture, except registered universities would have access to this app that they could provide to students as a resource. And then students that are registered on the platform could connect with each other. So the hardest problem was, as a South African, I have not necessarily met any person who was like born and raised in South Africa.
Okay.
So I'd have that platform as like search like South Africans, and then a whole bunch of people that moved from South Africa would pop up, and I'm like, hey, would you like to connect? Or
Yeah.
they would know of events and stuff like that that I probably would not be able to know about going to Trent, in
Yeah.
the bush, in Peterborough. So,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
it's kind of like, in the short terms.
Yeah.
And so would you make money with like, I guess, just ads or something, or somebody would pay you to put their
Yeah.
ads on your?
I would hope maybe like universities, they
Yeah,
would pay
yeah.
for like
That service
Yeah.
for the students.
having that platform, but
Or
Mm.
you could even be the creator of the events and then have people pay to go to them, and then you're actually generating revenue, but also impacting the ultimate goal.
yeah.
Cool.
I could see that as networking, not just dating too, but in general of a larger
Yeah.
networking
Yeah.
capacity of introducing people of, and connecting people, not even just dating, but like, hey, like.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be romantic.
No,
Yeah.
so it was,
It wasn't
it's not
like-
a
it wasn't
dating.
misunderstanding.
Yes,
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
a
yeah.
It
misunderstanding.
was like a dating app.
Like
Yeah.
it, yes.
But I would argue it could end up being romantic.
have a chat.
Yes. Yeah. I want to date or I don't.
that almost goes along with what you're.
Cool, one more, go ahead.
So we came up with something like an online directory for ethnic restaurants that specifically
So we could
highlights
partner.
the ethnic restaurants in the community that's already undermined by bigger corporations like McDonald's, for example. So like let's say you're looking for Mexican food or something, we'll use SEO to highlight these restaurants when the user searches for something in the area,
Yeah,
basically.
cool.
With that being said, the new Canadian Center right now is doing a multicultural food crawl downtown, and you get a card and you can stamp it, so it's kind of
Yeah,
similar to that.
related. So you want to do that. Yeah. So, and what's cool is if you collect all of those individual businesses that want to make that impact through marketing, right? Individually, they don't have the capital to do that, right? But if you do it together, right, then all of a sudden you have this collection of resources that can then pay for competitive ads against things like McDonald's, right? So then you're addressing your social challenge. Cool. Yeah, right? Amazing. Okay, I wish I could hear from all of you. We can't. But was that helpful to talk with somebody about your idea? Right? Sometimes we just have things percolating in our head. We go, oh, I have this cool idea. I call it the black book of ideas, right? You just write things down and you wake up in the middle of the night and go, oh, this would be so cool. And then you do nothing with it, right? But sometimes just having that chat with somebody else and then going, oh my goodness, that's so cool, is enough motivation for you to actually start it, right? And sometimes that conversation is a spark that you need. So, whatever that idea was, leverage this, and we're going to send this out to everybody so that you can have the hot link that'll get you right to it, and then you can use it. Right on time. So I'm cool to stay around for a little bit. I don't know if you guys are needing to take off, but if there are any questions, anything that I can share with you, I will do that. We can kind of chat for a little bit while after the time. But other than that, I just want to say thank you. It has been a real treat to be here today. You guys have been a great audience. When I asked you to introduce yourself, some of you looked at me and went, I don't want to talk to anybody. But now you're all smiling and you're engaged and it's been good. So thank you for that. I always ask for feedback. So when you get this, you can either scan that QR code or go to the link. I just want to know how to do what I do better, right? So what went well today? What do you think I could work on? That's always really valuable feedback for me. So on that note, if there are any questions, let me know. And if you have to leave the Vail Heart, feel free to do that. But I'm open to questions. Cool.
Maybe a clap.
Okay. A little bit of awkward silence there. Yeah. So if you have any questions, you can just Google my name and you'll find 18 different social media platforms you can connect with me on. And